If you are really tired of setting financial goals and feeling like either it's going to take forever to reach them or you're never going to reach them, then we have some help for you today based on our personal experience.
Hi, I'm Larry.
And I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality.
This whole idea of so many goals, so little money, that was our life for a really, really long time. We raised our boys on one income, and that income was consistently underneath the U.S. national average income. So we felt like we constantly were like juggling between making ends meet and making plans for the future and saving for those future things that were super important to us. And yet we did make some really big financial goals, and we met them. Things like paying cash for cars, living within our means, and also paying cash for the house that we currently live in. So we never ever could have made that happen had we not come up with a viable plan for making it happen, and that's what we're going to share in this video.
We'll show you the exact process that we use for making these goals, for how to tackle them, how to prioritize them, and we've included some worksheets along with that.
And stick with us till the end of the video, because if you're getting weary in the whole process and feeling like maybe you're a little bit stuck, we're going to share some tips that will help you keep going when it seems really hard to keep going.
We based this video on a viewer question who asked, how does one save for multiple goals at the same time? For example, we have a few concrete short-term goals: braces for our oldest, replacing my husband's cell phone, planning a trip, family, and holidays, and a nebulous midterm goal of taking all of our kids on a real family vacation before they're all grown up and gone, and a long-term goal of paying off our mortgage. That's a really good goal. I feel like we've only ever successfully saved for the short-term goals and usually put off saving for the midterm and long-term goals until all those short-term goals are met. But there's always a new short-term goal that shows up.
The good news is we have experienced that exact same dilemma many, many times. We're going to give you all the tools you need to get going in the right direction. Here's step number one.
Step number one is determine how much money you have available in your budget at the end of the month to put toward your goals.
Do you have any money left over at the end of the month? If the answer is no, this is the time for you to dig into that budget, figure out what you can reduce or maybe what even you can eliminate. There are things that come to mind right away, like cable subscriptions or maybe eating out. Once again, we want to remind you, this is not about deprivation. Are we saying you'll never eat out any time the rest of your life? No, of course not. But there comes a time and a place where you just sort of set that aside, set it on a shelf and say, we're going to eventually be able to work eating out back into our budget. But for now, we are deciding not to eat out so that we can put that money that we were spending on eating out in restaurants toward our short, medium, and long-term goals.
The aim of this exercise is to be able to free up money that's in your budget that you can apply toward these goals.
Step number two, once you know how much money you have available to put toward goals, you need to make a comprehensive list. In this list, you're going to list all of your goals and all of your dreams.
You can set a timer for 10 minutes and then brainstorm, where do you want to be in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Write all those ideas down. Don't worry about prioritizing here. Don't worry about separating whether they're dreams or goals. Just get them down on paper so you can see them in a concrete fashion.
Step number three, it's time to decide whether all the items on that list, each one, is it a goal or is it a dream? A goal needs to be concrete. You need to have a date associated with that goal. It needs to be very specific. It needs to be trackable. It needs to be realistic. We like to call these SMART goals.
In other words, these goals need to be trackable, relevant, achievable. They need to be absolutely concrete so you understand precisely where you're going.
Using our viewer's question as an example, it would seem to us that that trip to Disney right now needs to go in that dream column and not that goal column. We had this exact same dream for a really long time. And when we were ready financially and we cleared out time on our schedule, that's when we moved that big once in a lifetime family vacation over to the goal column, and that's when we actively started working on it. But the long and short of it is, if you're not ready to really dig in and start working on it, it's not a goal, it's a dream.
We're not discounting dreams as being unimportant. We feel that it's important to have some dreams. This is what gives us the joy of living and earning our money and putting it to use so we can enjoy life. So your dreams can eventually become a goal once you've taken care of all of the priorities on your short-term list.
Step number 4, now that you have a list of goals that you're ready to work on, determine whether those goals are short, medium, or long-term goals.
A lot of times the short-term goals involve a less amount of money. The medium terms, maybe a little bit more, and then the long-term goals, of course, would involve quite a bit of money. That's why you have the short, medium, and long-term goals.
For our purposes, we've always considered a short-term goal for us to be anywhere between 6 and 24 months, medium-term goal 2 to 5 years, and if it's going to take us more than 5 years, then that's a long-term goal.
Make sure now that your goals are listed in a prioritized fashion. That's Hope's favorite word, prioritized. You want the most important goals at the top because you want to hit those the hardest.
If you're like us, you're going to have a pretty long list of goals. We always did, and there was never enough money to begin to fund all of those goals at once. That's okay. We're going to show you how to use a pie chart to determine which goals you're going to work on first and how you're going to tackle those goals. After you determine whether each goal is short, medium, or long term, it's time to really take each of those goals and individually write them out. We have a hypothetical, made-up scenario for a short-term goal that Larry's going to run through real quick and kind of show you how we wrote these out.
So here is the hypothetical goal. I want to replace my Toyota van by March of 2024, spending no more than $24,000, and that would be the out-the-door price. I plan to reach this goal in 18 months or by March of 2024. I currently have $14,000 in my car replacement fund to work with.
I want you to notice how incredibly specific that goal is. There were several parts to the goal, and we wrote all of them down so that both of us clearly understand what the goal is, what the timeline is, and how we plan to get there. Now, in the how we plan to get there, that's on the other side of that worksheet, and we're going to write out every step that we plan to take in order to reach that goal.
So let's go over those steps. I plan to save $335 a month in my car replacement fund for the next 18 months. At that point, I'll have $20,000 in my car replacement fund, and that's by the time of the goal, which is March 2024. My goal includes a trade-in or a resale value on my current van for $6,000, and that's with 125,000 miles on it.
Tell us in the comments section, when you create financial goals, do you go into this much detail? Do you see the value in clearly defining exactly what the goal is and exactly what you're going to do to get there?
Chances are, if you spell it out this specifically, you're going to meet that goal.
We promised we would tell you on a very low income exactly how we met goals. This is it, guys. This specificity of details, this is how we did it.
Let's talk about how you're going to track that goal using a goal pie chart.
I love a good pie chart.
I love a good pie.
All right, let's talk about a pie chart. Why is this important? I consistently used pie charts when we were planning goals. Part of the reason for this is it helps you visualize the whole amount that you have available every month to put towards your goals. And then it's super easy to divide that pie up, if you will, which represents the whole amount you have available, into smaller pieces. That was incredibly hard for me to do until I created a pie chart and went, I totally get it. I was super good at like honing in on 1 or 2 goals at a time, but the whole idea of 4 or 5 or 6 goals just sort of blew my mind. And part of it was because of the amount of money we had available to even reach goals. Once we did this, this was a game changer, guys.
This is going to be another hypothetical pie chart. So this is a monthly pie chart. We created it on July 31st, 2022. And we have available $800 a month to distribute among our goals.
We always liked to pick a couple of short-term goals. This helps answer that question that our viewer had of, I really work on their short-term goals. I never get to the medium or the long-term goals because new short-term goals keep popping up that need my attention. That is life. That's absolutely what happens. This system will help you kind of deal with that. Whenever we created a pie chart, we always had at least 2 short-term goals, and we tried to have 1 medium-term goal, and we tried to also add 1 long-term goal. What that meant was, as soon as we were done meeting a short-term goal, then we could add on whatever short-term goal was next on the list of goals. Then we could add that in. It allowed us to continue working on medium and long-term goals while simultaneously saving for short-term goals.
So let's take a look at the top section of the pie chart. The first one we see is the wisdom tooth removal. Now, we're allowing $300 a month, and we're going to reach that goal by July of 2023.
You'll also notice that we added that dream Disney vacation in to kind of show our viewer that even though that's a medium term, almost a longer term goal, you can go ahead and move that from your dream column to your goal column. You just spread out the amount of time you're saving for it, and instantly you're able to save for it because it's a much smaller amount of money. In this example, then you'll see that we're having our viewer save $100 a month, and she's doing that for a little over 4 years. At the end of that time, you've got $5,000 sitting in that dream vacation fund, and now you can go to Disney, you can see Mickey and the whole gang, and you're paying cash to do it.
Another goal is to pay off the Visa card. So on the goal sheet, it says that we're going to apply $65 each month and reach that goal by July 2026.
And then the final goal on this pie chart, you'll see that we added in that hypothetical saving to replace a car scenario that we talked a little bit earlier in the video about. And we're saving that a little over $300 a month toward replacing that car. We hope the pie chart, tell us in the comments section, is this helpful for you to sort of visualize how to divide up that whole amount you have available into smaller sections or pieces of the pie, if you will. Couple of notes about short-term goals. We have found this consistently over the past 3 decades of saving really hard for big goals on a low income. And one of the things we discovered is that when we really put our mind to it, we were able to reach those short-term goals far more quickly than we thought that we would be able to reach them. One of the reasons we were able to do that is whenever any extra money came in, it went to our goals.
Another thing that we did was we applied the money to sinking funds. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about sinking funds, we'll put a link up here in the video so you can watch that afterwards.
That's right. We did a whole video on sinking funds, told you exactly how to set them up. We also gave you 3 ways that you can save for sinking funds that are virtually painless ways to save for sinking funds. We're going to link that video once again up above and in the description of the video.
Another way that you can illustrate your short-term goals is to use the thermometer method. Now, this is used very often by fundraisers. You'll see that they're saving for a goal and they have that big thermometer and then maybe it's only about halfway up and they need, say, $50,000 more to meet that goal. And it's really clear how much they need. It's not just a dollar amount. So this will help your brain kind of grasp the amount of money that you still need for those goals.
This is also a way that we engaged everybody in the family in helping us to reach the goal. We would put this up and the kids could color in how close we were to reaching the goal. And it was a fun way for the kids to feel like they were taking part in the whole process. You'll notice on this goal thermometer, we gave this example because this is a short-term goal. It's once again that replace the car fund. And you'll notice on that thermometer, every time we got extra money in, boom, we put it toward that goal, meaning we're reaching that goal far more quickly than we actually anticipated that we would.
Now let's talk a little bit about what to do when you're going and the going gets rough.
We promised you we would give you some tips that would allow you to continue to be encouraged and inspired in your goal making and goal meeting progress. First of all, you need to remember this is an inexact science. Money flows in, money flows out, and sometimes it doesn't flow in or flow out the way that we anticipated that it would. But you have to really recognize going into meeting goals, that's life, and it happens. And once you get your mindset aligned with this is going to happen, when it does, it's less jarring for you.
You may even have a new goal that'll pop up on the horizon unexpectedly, maybe a major car repair, like a transmission going out or something.
Or your child does something and needs to have, I don't know, a broken arm set or something like that. Like, we've raised boys, y'all. We know these things happen.
Yeah, so many unexpected things can appear. So you need to be able to reprioritize for those goals, set those at the top and hit those as well.
And really that brings us to the point that we really want to share with you, and that is you need to look at these goals periodically. These goals aren't static. You don't just make them, walk away, and assume that, they're going to get funded just like you expected. Now, anytime you can automate the funding, that's gold. You absolutely should do that. But even if you're doing that and you have money specifically designated for each goal and it's going into there automatically from your bank account every month, don't walk away and leave it. Look at it periodically. We do it every 6 months. Every 6 months, we take a long, hard look at our goals and say, how are we doing? And do we need to reevaluate what's in that pie chart?
When you look over these goals, you might find that you're actually meeting some of those goals quicker than you thought. Then you can go ahead and write that one off, meet that goal, and then move some of the others up.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, you might find out that it's taking you a little bit longer to meet a goal than you expected. That's okay. This reevaluation process allows you to say, all right, we're going to sell some things to throw some extra money toward that goal. Or alternately, you may decide we're just going to spread out the amount of time we're saving for that goal a little bit longer so that we're saving a little bit less every single month. But regardless of what you discover, really being engaged in the process and doing this at least every 6 months, super duper important. Now, if you've enjoyed the charts that we've shown along with this video, you can get a free copy of them. I actually just added it. It's a free bonus with our quarterly goal planning system. There'll be a link. You can check that out. It's in the description of the video.
We mentioned the sinking fund concept a little bit earlier. And if you're interested in delving a little bit more into that, we have it linked right over there. Watch that one next.